Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of going through the book Raising Up into the Higher Dimensions. So it's episode 5 today, and the page I was guided to was page 54, Creating a New Paradigm. So I love this message and it's definitely relatable to the times we're in now and what we're going through. So I will read out the full message and then we'll go into it a bit deeper. The cat just wants to be let out, so I'll do that. Okay. Creating a new paradigm. Let go of that which you have known and believed in the past, for this cannot go with you into a new paradigm. The new earth, the golden age that you are birthing at this time, is not resonant with fear, lack, separation, and the old codes and templates that have been operating within you individually and as a collective consciousness. New times require changes to occur, and this is beautiful and all part of the bigger picture here. There will be a purging, a releasing, and a self-awareness that will invite you to process and acknowledge the parts of you that are not resonant with your natural state and the true essence of who you are. This is a process of unfoldment, dear ones. Trust what comes up to your conscious awareness and in your reality. See it for what it is, and with pure intent, transmute it, alchemize it into a higher state, so it no longer keeps appearing in your reality. This requires a process of integration and a willingness to look at all aspects of yourself, whether you deem them good or bad, right or wrong. Come back to your heart and neutrality. Trust in the new paradigm of more unity, love, joy, and abundance that is your birthright. Do the groundwork to receive all that you have wished for. So that's such a beautiful message, and I think a lot of us can relate to it right now because we are in this process of creating a new paradigm, and it can be intense at times. So I want to go back to that first part. Let go of that which you have known and believed in the past, for this cannot go with you into a new paradigm. So when I say new paradigm, it's like a new way of being. So we've had the old way of being, and it's now time to move into a new paradigm. This is what the collective consciousness ultimately wanted, which is why it seems like there's a lot of chaos or there's a lot of things coming up to the surface at this time. It's because we wanted to make that shift. So it's really asking us to let go of the old. So that can include the old ways of being that we know just don't serve us any longer. It can be old emotions that we've stuffed down that are in our bodies still and wanting to be felt and processed. It could be belief systems that aren't serving you. They may have served you in the past, but now it's not. And it's not ultimately in alignment with where you want to be, where you want to go, in alignment with who you truly are. which is what this ascension process is all about. Coming back to your true self and your soul's essence. And how can we live that embodied on the earth? Because all these old ways of being, it can't go with us. So there needs to be a process that happens that allows it to arise and come up so we can be conscious of it and give it our love and compassion and all of that, integrate it so we can move forward. The new earth, the golden age that you are birthing at this time, is not resonant with fear, lack, separation, and the old codes and templates that have been operating within you individually and as a collective consciousness. Yeah. Because what humanity is in right now, we perceive a lot of duality, fear, lack, separation, and it's not to deny that at all, because it can feel very real for us when we're in it, and we can be so identified with it, and we're seeing it play out, right? But what we're being asked to do is to expand our consciousness, to tap into that higher self version of us and see the bigger picture here, to remember the oneness, the connectedness, and all of that, the love that we are. And the more and more we do that, we might not be able to hold that state, and that's fine. It's just a reminder for us throughout our day, throughout our life, to come back into those higher perspectives. It can be very easy, especially if you watch the news and things, to be drawn into these other agendas, into these other states of consciousness. So that's why it's really important to anchor back into your own heart and then choose to see the truth from a higher state of being, honoring your humanity and what's arising and self-soothing and doing what you need to do, but not forgetting about your divinity and the higher plan here. New times require changes to occur, and this is beautiful and all part of the bigger picture here. Yeah. There will be a purging, a releasing, and a self-awareness that will invite you to process and acknowledge the parts of you that are not resonant with your natural state and the true essence of who you are. Yeah. So a lot of us will be starting to become aware of many things within us that have been crying out for our attention, because we're only conscious of so much, and there's so much in our subconscious, and it will arise in divine timing when we're ready to see it for what it is. And another tool is our bodies, to really tune into how our bodies are feeling in certain situations or when things happen, because our body is like a messenger from our subconscious mind. You know, when we go into those states from our nervous system of fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn, and these are all messages of a trauma that have been stuck or held within us that we haven't healed, that we haven't alchemized or integrated. And so a really good practice can be throughout the day, tune into your body, remain present, and notice what different things trigger perhaps constriction within you, or if you feel like you can't talk or whatever it is. Those can be good indicators of when we know that something's here and it needs our loving attention. And also when you're interacting with others or out and about, when those triggers happen. Because we know that we've healed something when we no longer feel reactive to something. We're in that balanced place so we can see it for what it is. We can see all the things that are arising and dissolving in life. And we're not coming from that reactive, triggered place. Yeah. So it's all about coming back to our natural state, our essence, which is ultimately love. A loving awareness, a loving consciousness, part of Source. And yes, we do have our unique expressions of that one Source consciousness, but they are all these beautiful divine qualities of love, peace, harmony, and all of that. And that's the thing about coming from duality consciousness to unity consciousness or oneness, because with duality consciousness you want to separate all these things. I'm this, I'm not that, or them versus me. Whereas with unity consciousness and oneness, you don't see these two different sides. You embrace all of it. You see it all as one. Therefore, you can see what a difference that can make when you're in your life and going through your life and how you experience life. So all these things are really happening so we can come back to balance, into that resonance with who we truly are, with our soul, our spirit, that essence which we came here to embody and transmit and express out into the world. And so all that which isn't in alignment with that, we will get triggered. There will be a shake-up. You may notice yourself getting irritated by these little things, or having something happen and a big emotional purge. My advice would just be to allow that process to happen. Just allow it to happen. The more we resist and want to persist, the bigger it will become. So when these things do arise, allow it to happen. Really have compassion for yourself and choose to see from a higher perspective. And honor your human, give it what it needs, self-soothe and all of that. Okay. This is a process of unfoldment, dear ones. Trust what comes up to your conscious awareness and in your reality. See it for what it is, and with pure intent, transmute it, alchemize it into a higher state, so it no longer appears in your reality. So that's what I said before. Really owning it, taking that ownership and responsibility of what is coming up for you. The more you want to push it away or blame others, then that really is a key showing you this is for you. And it's okay if you feel scared or unsure or confused or a bit wary about going into those parts. It's understandable, and so there are people that can support you in that. But that's the key thing about really when we remember our divinity and more of who we truly are, then we have that power, and we know that we are so much more powerful than any of the, if you want to call it shadows or darkness. Like, it has no chance. You are so powerful, and that's why pure intent is so powerful. When you state something, when you know it, you invoke it, and there's no doubt in your mind. There's nothing that would have you believe that it's impossible or I can't do this. So use pure intent, call in help from spirit, from source, call in your higher self-consciousness. There's so much love and support here for you, and it's important that you ask for it. This requires a process of integration and a willingness to look at all aspects of yourself, whether you deem them good or bad, right or wrong. Come back to your heart and neutrality. Yeah. So it's really honoring all parts of us. That's why sometimes it can be quite dangerous or detrimental if you claim a fixed identity. You know, if someone asks you, or you ask yourself, who am I? What do you say? Because if we identify ourselves with what we do for work, or the good parts of us, such as I make people feel good, or I do this, or I do that, or this is my gender, or I'm a parent, or whatever it is, and you become really fixed to that and attached to that. You know, maybe one day, say you're a vegetarian, and maybe one day, and you really hold yourself to that. That's who I am, that's my identity. And then one day you just feel like eating meat or eating something like that, and because that's genuinely, authentically how you feel in the moment, perhaps your body needs a nutrient that's coming from that food, how exhausting it could be to deny that part of you and keep holding on to that fixed identity and denying it. That can just be exhausting and ultimately inauthentic to do that, because we're eternal, we're formless, we're always expanding as a soul. So to think that we have to hold on and grasp onto these certain identities that sound good or that we would like to be is not helpful. It's actually the opposite, which is so freeing, to allow yourself to change and grow. You know, think about how many times perhaps your interests or your passions have changed, or you want to move to a different location, or you want to have different relationships, all of that stuff. You allow it to happen for your highest good. You're allowing your higher self to orchestrate all this stuff and to embrace who you are instead of being fixed on who you think you should be or who you want to be, but ultimately is not who you truly are. So it's really important to really allow, you know, your belief systems to change. Yes, you may have held this certain belief for years, but it's okay to change it. So the more we can just be open and let ourselves to release and let go of all these attachments to all these different things, emotions, beliefs, thoughts, identity, then the more we can surrender and accept and embrace who we are and who we came here to be. Okay, and it really comes back to you really honoring yourself and your soul versus what you want to be perceived as or what others may think of you as. And the last sentence: trust in the new paradigm of more unity, love, joy, and abundance that is your birthright. Do the groundwork to receive all that you have wished for. So it's going through all of this stuff that will really allow us to anchor into all those things that we truly want. The love, the unity, the harmony, and all of that. So it's key during this time, during this ascension process and raising up into the higher dimensions, to go through these phases, these cycles, and so we can see what we need to see, heal what we need to heal. And ultimately it's all about remembering the wholeness and our divinity that we always are. No matter those other identities or thoughts or things that we may experience in this human life, it doesn't take away who we are already. So the more we do that, then the more we affect our own life in that way, and also the collective consciousness. And we are able to not only step into a new paradigm for ourselves, but for everyone. So it's really about tuning into you and listening to the inspired action that you feel called to take. It's going to be different for everyone. And we're going to have different things that are arising for us as a unique soul. So it's to not compare yourself with anyone or judge yourself if things are arising for you. It's like, oh, this is happening for me. Because when you can expand your consciousness and see from this other perspective, it can make this whole journey a lot easier. But I'm not saying that it's always going to be easy. It's not going to feel that way. It's going to actually feel like we're always on the edge of our vulnerability. But that's what this life is all about. To remember and know ourselves as love in human form. So let me know how that message was for you. Much love.